Zen Koans with an Advaita twist. Mumonkan, case number 17. Chu, the national teacher, gives 3 calls. The national teacher called his attendant 3 times, and 3 times the attendant responded. The national teacher said, "I long feared that I was failing you, but in fact it was you who were failing me." This is somehow a strange story. I found a slightly more elaborated version by Katsuki Sekida, which I will read. It's a little bit longer and gives a little more details. So here we go. The national teacher wanted to transmit the lamp of the Dharma and wanted to test his attendant Oshin to see if he had true understanding. "Oshin," called the teacher. "Yes, sir," the attendant responded, kneeling at the doorway of his master's room. "Oh, it's nothing. Just go back to your room." No sooner had the attendant returned to his room and the master called again, "Oshin!" "Yes, sir." Once more the attendant came to the teacher's room, knelt and bowed. As before, the master merely told him, "It's nothing," and he returned again to his room. Immediately again, however, the teacher called, "Oshin!" For the 3rd time, the attendant came, knelt and bowed. The teacher said, I long feared that I was failing you, but in fact it was you who were failing me." So this is the slightly longer version here. And you may wonder, what the heck is all this calling about? What the heck is all this responding about? What does this story tell us? Well, let's see. Throughout the day, we call each other dozens of times. And at that moment when we call each other, our attention is solicited towards something, towards this or that expectation, and converging on some object outside. Some examples between husband and wife. For example, "Darling, yes? I'd like some more coffee, please." And here comes the object, coffee. So there is some calling and there is some coffee coming. Or another example between boss and employee. "Hey, Sanders." "Yes, sir. Please make 12 photocopies of this PowerPoint presentation." And Sanders goes to the photocopy machine, makes 12 copies. So here you have, again, a calling, and as a result there is an activity. There is some action following. Or another example at the restaurant. Imagine you sit at the terrace and you ask the waiter, "Waiter." "Yes, sir." He's coming to you. "Can I have the bill, please?" So here the result is again an object. You want the bill. There is something. But imagine if in any of these situations you would have nothing. And this is the story here. For example, he would ask the waiter to come, and then you say, "Oh no, waiter, sorry, it's nothing." And then you do it again a second time, and then you do it again a third time. Well, this waiter will be annoyed, and he will say, "Sir, I have other things to do than being called by you and then being told there is nothing." It's a bit like a dog and a bone, you know? It's like calling your dog because you're holding a bone, and then suddenly you hide it from him or you take it away. And you do that 2-3 times. Well, your dog will be also mad and bark at you. So in our story, we have Oshin being called 3 times without being any object, any reason. Just, oh, it's nothing. Just nothingness. Just shunyata. And in our meditation practices, we learn, in fact, to enjoy this kind of nothingness. In our meditation, nothingness, it tastes as sweet as the sweetest candy. That's not for all meditations the case. In some practices, meditations would focus, would converge on objects, on a mantra maybe, or it would converge on the breath, or it would converge on a candle, and there are many other meditation techniques converging on objects. However, in Advaita and in Zen and in several other similar practices, there is no focusing, converging towards an object, converging towards thoughts, towards feelings, towards sense perceptions. And instead, we let our attention rather diverge to open space. And after that, we even let our attention turn 180 degrees to the source. When we do this, we can stay in some kind of a blissful state without any object being presented to us. When we do this, the Master can call us 3 times and present us with nothing, and we would have no problem at all, just like Oshin. It reminds me also of my first Advaita teacher in France, and his name is Jean Klein, and he had a book published which is called La Joie sans objet, which means joy or bliss without object. And on the cover you had a Buddha smiling, and smiling from within, just a bit like all the Buddhas you can look at. They have more or less closed eyes, yet there is an invisible smile from within. I once showed that cover of that book to a good friend of mine. She is an artist, a painter, and she just loved this title. She said, "This is a wonderful title." She said, "Me as an artist, I always focus on objects. Whether it is a model, or it is a plein air, or it is a still life, or it is some abstract whatever, it's an object, and this book seems to portray something, a joy that arises not from an object, but from just no object." So, also, another story is the story of the monk on the hill, which I told in one of our previous meditations here in our center not so long ago. And this is based on a cartoon, based on a drawing by Ioana Salajan in a book called Zen Koans. And in this cartoon you can see a monk on a hill with two ladies chatting at the bottom of the hill and wondering, what the hell is this monk on the hill doing there? He's just standing on this hill, silently, not moving, and just without anything. So one lady said, you know what, I think he's probably waiting for someone. The other woman says, no, I don't think so. I think he's looking for something. And the first lady says again, no, I think he's really waiting for somebody. It really looks that way. And the other said, no, he's looking for something. It's clear. Look at him. And so they keep arguing with each other back and forth. Until at one moment, one of the ladies said, you know what? Why don't we go up there and ask him? So they walked up the hill and, oh, venerable monk, please excuse us to disturb you in your meditation, but we were just wondering, both of us, what are you doing here? So the monk turned around to the ladies, bowed to them and said, but of course, my dear ladies, I will tell you. I'm just standing here on this hill. So in other words, he was not looking for something. He was not waiting for somebody. He was just standing on this hill. Something the two ladies had never thought about, and is something also that is quite difficult for us to do. For example, if you're waiting for the bus at the bus stop, can you just be there standing, waiting peacefully, without being like watching how I'm going to be late, or where is this bus now? Just peacefully waiting for the bus. Or another example, if you are at the doctor's office and you have to wait for 2 or 3 more patients that are before you, can you just sit there comfortably in peace without nervously looking into the magazines that are made available for you in the waiting room? Another aspect of this calling and answering is that Oshin was always present. Oshin was each time in the now. So in fact, there was no real sequence of calling 3 times. Each time it was fresh. And in fact, if you look at it, can we ever leave the now? We were now when we were a toddler, when we were playing. We were now when we were sitting in primary school. We were now when we went to university. We were now when we were first day at work. It was now yesterday. It is now. And it will again be now tomorrow. There is no escape of being in the now. And similarly, when the national teacher called Oshin 3 times, these 3 times it was now. And when Oshin responded, yes sir, 3 times, it was also each time now. So he was not coming there to the teacher anticipating that he would be giving something to do. He was just giving nothing. And to Oshin, that was perfectly fine because he was already in the now anyway. So seeing this, the national teacher Chu responded to Oshin, I long feared that I was failing you, but in fact, it was you who were failing me. In other words, the national teacher was fearing that maybe his teaching towards Oshin had failed, that Oshin had not really got the essence of the teaching, and he was wondering if he could pass on the Dharma to his attendant Oshin or not. But after this test of calling and answering 3 times, he in fact discovered with delight that Oshin was fully now, fully in bliss, fully enlightened, and not worried that he was being called 3 times and then being told there is nothing. So that concludes our today's session. I thank you for joining us, and please, if you have a moment, take some time to see if you yourself can also be in this nothingness. Be like this monk on the hill, just standing there. Or be like Oshin, just accepting it's nothing and returning it's nothing. Thank you very much.